Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are watching. Welcome back to Conversations on the Couch. I'm glad that you are here. Let me say what's up to Gigi. Good to see you. Let me know, Christine. Good to see you. Christine Rodriguez, Queen Love, Amber. Let me know where you're checking in from. Leave a comment. Let me know where you're checking in from so I can give a shout out to you. Gwendolyn Treese, good to see you. Tommy Aguilera, good to see you. I am fine. Thanks so much, Kay, for asking. Glad that you are here. Gonna have another great conversation tonight. Keep it going as we do. Massachusetts, thanks for joining from Massachusetts. Always good to see where we're checking in from. The connections. Florida. So we're all up and down the East Coast right now. Florida, Massachusetts. It's good to see you all. So I am glad that you are here and glad that we could be together. From, let me see, South Carolina. Very good. Fantastic. Ready for another episode from the Comfy Couch Convos? Yes. So we're going to have these conversations. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the one and finding the one. Earlier today, I shared a few minutes about the price, the price of being the one. And so I think we should I want to continue that talk because it was a pretty fun talk earlier today, just talking about value and the price that should come along with our value in relationships. And as I was thinking about it, I know that oftentimes certain words we can struggle with because we think that it diminishes us, or it doesn't seem like it goes with certain aspects of life. But I very much believe that when we can think, be logical about relationships, it enhances us so much more. Here's what I know. When your emotions are running high, and when we're just sold relationships from the emotional standpoint, and so we're running high on emotion, we're going to run very low and operate very low when it comes to logic. The two are opposing, right? So emotion is based off of feeling. It's based off of what's happening in the moment. So we can respond emotionally without putting any thought into it. And we've probably all been guilty of just an emotional response. We really didn't think about what we were getting ready to say. We just shot it off, or we did something very much emotional. Logic says, no, I'm going to take control. I'm going to process this out first. And I'm thinking through something before responding, before doing it. So there's a major difference. And I believe that we need both in a relationship. If a relationship is going to be healthy and strong, we need both. We need the emotional. Obviously, that makes things enjoyable, right? That adds to the passion of relationships. It adds to the excitement and the fun and the joy. We need that. But we also need the logic, because logic says, if I can produce this emotional response when I do this, then let me strategize how to do this again so that I can produce this response again if I want it. So if you want a desirable outcome, we want to start logically planning on how to get there. So we were talking about value today earlier, and I was talking about the fact that you have value, I have value, and our value should determine the price. There should be a price that someone has to pay in order to be in a relationship with you. And that might sound like really like a stretch, but think about it. If you add value to someone's life and they don't have to pay a price at all, there's no price for them to pay, do they really see the value? If it costs them nothing to have you in their life, they could say that they value you, but have they proven that they valued you? And so as I was thinking about this, I had a new perspective on an old story, and it just came to me earlier today that the very first man, according to the Bible, very first man, he was there hanging out with God. God says it's not good for him to be alone. And then that man, even though he didn't even know what was getting ready to go down, that man had to pay a price. And as I thought about it more today, I thought about the fact that God said it's not good for him to be alone. And then the Bible says that man goes into a deep sleep. God removes his rib from him, and from the rib fashions a woman. brings the woman to him. This dude, Adam, we know him to be Adam. We know her name later. He called her Eve. This man paid a price for a woman that he didn't even know. He hadn't even met. Think about it like this. If you in your relationship if you can see into the future of your relationship and start to say, I see so much value in the person that I want to be with that I'm going to start paying the price now. Before I ever meet them, I can start paying the price. Before we ever have the relationship, I can start paying the price. Well, how can you pay the price? What can you do? Well, you can start disciplining yourself now. You can start strategizing now. You can, if you're a praying person, you can start praying for that person now. You can start setting aside money in your budget to have time and to maybe buy gifts for that person. Whatever it is, you can start paying a price for that person now. And likewise, that person can do the same thing for you. They don't actually need you in their face in order for them to start paying the price. They can start eliminating, you and I, we can start eliminating the noise. There might be too many people in your life. There may be too many people that they really don't have a shot, but you got them around, you're kind of entertaining them because, it's better for your phone to ring than not ring. You're going on some dates with some people that, not really, don't really want to do that, but you do it anyway. Well, there's a price that you could pay. You could say, you know what? No, I'd rather be by myself, going out by myself, than simply entertaining people that I know are not the ones. Nah. I don't need to entertain that person in that way. I don't even need to give this person the chance because I know they're not the one. I don't need to give them the chance. I'm willing to pay the price to be alone so that, you know what? I don't even need them in the way. I don't need them cluttering the atmosphere. I don't need them in my ear. I don't need them in my vision. No, they're not the ones. Let me pay the price for getting them out. There are things that we can do. This man, he had to pay a price. He had to give up his whole rib. The Bible says he didn't give it. It was taken from him. Like, hey, this is the price. You don't even know what's about. You have no frame of reference for what is about to bless you. You don't even know the blessing that's about to come into your life. So because you don't know the value of what's about to happen, God didn't even negotiate with him on what price he was willing to pay. He said, nah, I'm gonna have to do this surgery, this operation without even talking to you about it. He said, you're gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna remove this rib. That's the price that you're gonna pay. And then the gift that you get on the other side is gonna rock your world. This is going to be amazing. So as you start thinking about your value, how you uniquely solve a problem, that first woman, she uniquely solved a problem that God had. God said it wasn't good for this man to be alone. So he says, I'm going to make him a suitable helper. And so this suitable helper that showed up in the form of this woman, she was answering a problem, made her highly valuable. So valuable that this man had to pay with a rib. That's amazing. And so when you start looking at your own life and you start seeing your own value, how you uniquely solve problems, how you can show up and transform somebody's life because you realize that you have it going on, that you are a magnificent choice. When you start to see that about yourself, when you start to evaluate yourself and look within and you see your talents and you see your abilities and you see your mindfulness, you see the way that you operate, you see how you can add and enhance someone's life, then you start to say, no, I'm a person of worth. I'm a person of value. I don't need to be just handled in some kind of cheap way. No, there's a price associated with me. And so that price is going to be set by the standards that you have for yourself. And then you're going to realize, no, there is a price. Here is the standard. No, I expect this. Now, I'm not going for that. No. I am too valuable for you to talk to me that way. There's a price that you have to pay. The price is a different kind of communication. I need a different kind of response. I need a different kind of interaction. No, I need something greater than this because I have too much value in me for me to accept that. So you get to get this word in your heart and you start developing your confidence around it. And you get to tell someone that is unacceptable. I'm not accepting that price. Even though you are offering that price, I am not accepting that price. The price that you have to pay is something greater than just handling me any kind of way or talking to me any kind of way or interacting with me any kind of way. No, no, no. I'm not accepting anything anymore. I require something greater. And I was just thinking about this, how when you are focused on the one, it will cause you to pay a price. And I started thinking about this story about, and there's a story that Jesus was telling when the people were criticizing him for who he hangs out with and all that stuff. And then he says to the people, he says, now wouldn't, he said, if you had 99 sheep and one of them got lost, 90, you have 100 sheep, right? 100 sheep, one of them gets lost from the bunch. You will go and look for that one sheep. And then when you find the one sheep, you are going to celebrate because you found the one. You are willing to pay the price of leaving the whole 99, the whole herd, to go get the one so that it can be complete, so you can have the 100. You want to go get that one. That one is so valuable. And I was thinking, I was like, he wasn't talking about relationships per se in terms of like romance or, anything in marriage. He wasn't talking about that. He was talking about the fact that the value of the one is worth going to get. The one is that important. And then after that story, this is in Luke 15. After that story, he talks about when a person, if you have money and then you lose some of your money, right? You lose a coin. Say, no, you're gonna go look for this coin. You're gonna pay the price. You're gonna turn on lights. You're gonna start cleaning things up. You're going to start searching. That is going to require time. Why? Because that coin, that money, it meant something to you. That one, you're going to do something for the one. You're paying a price. He also said, look, later on in the chapter, look, what about if you had multiple children and one of your sons decides to go off and he's squandering his inheritance? He said, but then later on in the story, that son returns home. Well, there's a price that needs to be paid. Here's the price. He says, go and get a robe and shoes and go get a fattened calf and invite these people over. We're going to have a party and all this stuff. Why? Because my son has returned. That one returned. See, the one is going to require something. When you find the one, a celebration might break out for you. When you find the one, guess what? You will put that one. He talked about the lamb. He said, the sheep, you put it on your shoulders and you'll announce to your friends that I have found the one that was missing. This is the one. This is the part. This is that person that was missing. No, I found my one. Oh, there's going to be a celebration, right? When you're looking for the one, you're looking for that one coin. It wasn't just, maybe I'll look kind of over there, kind of over here. No. He was like, no, you're going to turn on the light. You're going to be sweeping up some things. You're going to be tidying up. Why? Because you're looking for the one. It's going to require some effort. You are searching for the one. That's a price. See, you're paying a price. That search, the effort of the search, that's a price. See, when you start to realize that this level of intimacy that we're desiring isn't just casual, then you understand why it's so important for us to be able to dig deep. You start to see why it's important that, we really, if you really want to have an exceptional relationship, you don't really need to be just trying to sort through a whole lot of people, because how can you ever get to the understanding and knowledge and operating with wisdom if you're just scattered, if you're just working in the masses, if you're just looking for how many people that you can have come through? No, that's not where the value is. He said, I'll leave these 99. I'll leave all these people with all these compliments, giving me all this praise to go be with the one, to find the one. The one. See, for you, when you start thinking about yourself, you're not just a number. You're not just in the masses. You are the one. And this pertains to Any area and aspect of your life where you show up, when you start to really realize who you are, what you bring to the table, what you offer, it changes the game. It changes your mindset because you'll start to realize wherever I show up, I'm the one. See, because you start to realize you have value. You start to realize that you have something that you can add, that you are uniquely gifted for the places where you sit and those that you are around. You have something that you get to deliver. You are the one. And this is why it's so important for you to start to understand yourself and to unpack your gifts and your talents. And this is why it's important for you to take care of your health and your wellness and your finances and go after your dreams and pursue what's in your heart and go on the adventures. This is why, because when you are complete and whole, then you are operating as the one. You are operating as the one that you are meant to be. Without the lack, without this thought that you're not good enough. You're good enough. You've just been operating at a lower level. You've just been operating beneath your capacity. And because of that, you question yourself. See, I'm going to encourage you to tap in to those dreams. I'm going to encourage you to work on and be serious about your health and wellness. I'm going to encourage you to start to develop a mindset that you are not a failure. You may have stumbled in the past. You may have made some negative decisions and been off the mark. All that is true. Yeah, I got it. It happened. But today and going forward, all that gets to change. You don't have to remain in that space. I was reading about in Proverbs today, right? So every day I read a proverb, right? For the whole month I've been sharing like a proverb, and today is the 24th. And I just want to share something with you because most time people think that relationships and everything, they're built off of love. It's not what it says. Here is what the Bible says. It says, through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding is it established, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. I'm going to say it again. Through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding is it established, and by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. How do you build a relationship? Wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. See, when you start operating in those aspects, it's a game changer for you. It'll change the way that you relate to yourself. It'll change the way you relate to others. This is what makes those three things, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, are the three things that make the one so special to you. Here's why. Because I can know me, right? Like, oh, I know me. I like, I don't know, pizza. I like I like sports or whatever, right? So I have some knowledge of myself. But then when I get into understanding, I'm going to a whole deeper level of processing of why I am the way I am, why I operate the way I operate, why am I wired the way I am wired? What is it? The deep things, the more intricate things. I start to understand those things, and then with wisdom, I now operate based upon what I know, what I understand. Now the same thing happens with someone else from a distance on these social media platforms and life in general. We can have some knowledge of a person, like, oh, okay, yeah, I know this, and this about them. Oh, but when we get into understanding, we are now closing the space, the distance between us. See, we start closing that distance between us, and we're saying, not only do I have a knowledge of you, but now I'm starting to understand you. I understand that the reason why you responded that way is because in your past, someone spoke to you a particular kind of way, or you experienced a particular kind of situation. And what I just did, it looked like somebody in your past. So I understand and I apologize. I don't want to represent that to you because I don't want you thinking of your past. I want you to be healed and whole from what's in your past. See, understanding gets to another level and says, what I recognize in my knowledge, I now process on a deeper level. And through wisdom, I operate differently. See, if you know where your weak spots are in life, and you know that certain situations are not good for you, they're unhealthy for you, that understanding that you have, then you need to operate in wisdom to say, I'm not going to put myself in that situation because that's not good for me. That doesn't work for me. I don't thrive in that area. That is not abundant life for me. I'm losing if I do that. See, it's important that you realize that you are the one. You are the one worth knowing. You are the one worth understanding. You are the one worth operating in wisdom for. You're the one. And the more you know that about yourself, the more you begin to see others around you differently. And then when you let that one into your life, the one, if we're talking marriage minded, the one that gets to be that one that you become one with, is different. Because you've prepared, you've searched, you've celebrated in advance. You're like, I saw you before I even saw you. I've dreamt of you. I pictured you. I strategized for you. I planned for you. I looked for you. I left everybody else for you. Because I knew you were the one. It changes. Value changes. And you say, no, I paid a price for you. I paid a price to have a life with you. I paid a price to go on adventures with you. I paid a price to have tough times with you and to overcome obstacles with you. I paid a price. And so when you start to really think about it, you start to realize that paying a price is actually a gift. That's a gift. It's you can pay the price with joy. Like, I'm paying this price with joy because the return, the ROI, if we're going to use a little business term, the ROI, the return on my investment, I'm not simply paying a price, I'm actually making an investment. What I am depositing now is going to return to me 30, 60, 100-fold. Adam, if we go back to him, he's like, all right, there's a rib that was taken from me, but the return on my rib was this whole magnificent woman who he then was like, this is bone of my bone. This is flesh of my flesh. I should call her woman because she was taken from man. He was like, oh no, I have a full description of her. I understand her. I see her. I recognize her. Yeah, my investment has returned to me in such a way that I've now obtained favor from the Lord. I ain't make that up. The Bible says that a man that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So had to go all the way back to Adam. He was like, he might not have known it, but he obtained favor when she showed up. See, your one is bringing such a blessing, and you are a one that brings such a blessing that you can show up and tell somebody, look, favor just showed up with me. You're like, I'm an enhancer. That's what I do. I enhance. When I showed up, your life got better. You know, pat them on the butt. Congratulations. You're welcome. Right? Like you that's what you get to say. If you're gonna show up, you might as well show up as a full-on blessing. That's why you can't think of yourself as being less than or lacking. No, no. That's not what you are. You are a whole blessing. So what do we need to do? Be transformed by the renewing of our mind. This is why we have these conversations. I mean, for me, I made a commitment 365 days. I was like, I'm showing up 365 days, going live somewhere on some platform, because that was my commitment this year. 2023, Lord, unless the Lord says otherwise, I'm showing up. 365 days. Why? Because if as long as there's a message, I'm gonna have something to share, and hopefully it'll be a blessing to your life. Because I can tell you, the more I share, the more I have to study. The more I study, the more my life is enriched too. Because I'm like, wait a second, I got the whole thing about Adam in the rib that hit me different today. I had never thought about it in terms of him paying a price until today. But because you are the one, because you are here, right? You are the one in my life in this moment, right? Like, I show up for you. I'm that's how it works. And so, because of that, there's something happening for me. I pray something's happening for you, and we're becoming enriched by it. This is what happens. This is why you, like we talked about the other day, this is why you finding your gift, discovering your gift is so important, because when you discover your gift, you can deliver your gift to the world, and it makes room for you. It makes space for you and will bring you before great people. This is why you need to know that you are a person of high value. And so what you do now is you begin to learn yourself, you begin to master your skills, master your interactions with people and your mindset. You begin to master this stuff. You're not simply looking, you're not simply just moving through life, just being casual. You're like, no. I want to have mastery in what I'm doing so that when I show up, I can be a full-on blessing. It is good. So good. So the opportunity is there for you to be this gift, for you to recognize you are the one. And let me just tell you, because you've heard it right now, I thought about this earlier today. Every time you hear something, you become responsible. Now you can't say like, I didn't know that. No, I messed that up for you. Like, no, every time you hear something that challenges you or expands you or calls you to another level, you never get to unhear that. Now you're responsible for that. Because you showed up and you listened and made it into you. Now there's a seed of a new level that's in you that you're responsible for. Now you don't have to do anything with it, but why wouldn't you? There's so much potential in you. There's so much more in you that you didn't even know. And as you move forward, your value changes, right? Because you're able to say, you know what? I realize I can add more. There's more in me than I used to think. When I used to operate out of my place of low self-esteem, lack of confidence, walking around with my head down. I mean, I used to walk around with my head down. My confidence was so messed up. When I was operating like that, I wasn't at my full capacity. I was nowhere near it. I was living beneath my potential because the way I saw myself was small. People used to ridicule me. You're so short. And because they ridiculed me, because I was so short, I began to live small. I was small. I believed I was small. I operated small. I used to be envious of people that had a voice that would speak up. And I'm like, man, how do they do that? How can they be in front of people and they can talk and they can be the life of the party? And I mean, still to this day, that's not me. I'm not really still the life of the party kind of person. But it's not for a lack of confidence. That's just not my thing. Oddly enough, people, they would think otherwise. That's not my thing. You can put me on a stage in front of 1 million people and I'm gonna operate. You could drop me there right now. I'll be just fine. But after it's over, I'm going into a quiet place. I'm kind of like, I can be out there, but when it's over, when I'm off the stage, I'm gonna go find a quiet place. Right? I'm not one necessarily for all the big crowds. Some would say like I'm more introverted than extroverted. maybe so. But the crowds, being in the crowds, that does not energize me. That none of that does something different for me. But I know that now. But it's not for a lack of confidence. It's just for what my makeup is. But when I wasn't confident in myself, when I really did not see myself how, again, what I use, I didn't see myself how God sees me. I didn't see myself as the image and likeness of God, meant to have dominion, made to have dominion, to be fruitful and multiply and replenish and subdue and have dominion. And I didn't see that when I saw myself. I saw something less than. But when you start to change your mind, you can change your life. And so I just want to encourage you tonight that on purpose, intentionally, I would encourage you to look at yourself through a different lens. You may not be able to full on just do it all at once. I get that. But I would encourage you to start practice. Just start practicing, like AI says. It just practice. You guys may not know that. That's a Philly thing. It's a Philly thing. But you start working on it. You start looking at your life and you say, all right, what makes me special? And do not, oops, sorry, didn't mean to be all aggressive on you. But do not answer yourself and say nothing. Because I know a lot of people do that. Like, what makes me special? Nothing. No, it's not a question for you to get the answer. It's for you to discover what makes you special. What makes me special? Here's what have I overcome in life? What can I do? What does anyone ever thank me for? Right? You start asking your questions. When have I ever made somebody smile? When has someone ever appreciated something that I've done? What is something that I think of that someone said, wow, I never thought of that before? What is it? What is it that I can do? I was with a young lady today. We were at the barn, and the young ladies that I work with, they're in the barn, they're working with the horses. And so the one young girl, we're having a chit chat. We're talking about school and stuff like that. And she really likes animals. She's allergic to cats. And somebody told her that she couldn't be a vet because she was allergic to cats. They told her she couldn't be in a particular program at school because you couldn't have any allergies, and you have no animal allergies in order to be in this program. And she was, a little bummed out. So I began talking to her. Again, this is my thing, right? This is what I do. I encourage people. I'm like, we're going to find a way. And I began to tell her, I said, listen, you don't have to be a vet, or you don't have to go into that program where they're excluding you because you have animal allergies. I was like, listen, first of all, I said, you have access to the barn, right? You have access to all these animals. I said, you know what we can do? Well, you can create your own program right now at 15 years old. I was like, you don't need to wait for somebody to let you into their program. We can create your own program. I said, you went from being terrified and crying on day one to being able to ride. I said, you know what you can do? You can write a book. You can write a book on how to go from fearful to your first ride. And she's just looking at me. And I said, you know how to do that. You know how to go from being afraid and crying to riding and having the horse run. I said, you know that there are probably other girls that are 10, 11, 12, 13 that might read your book. Their parents might buy your book. I said, you don't need somebody to tell you what you can do. She sits with me. We've been talking for the last probably month. And we've been chit-chatting about this idea about having puppies at the barn. And she's been laying it out. She made some designs. She made a flyer because we've been talking about this thing of having dogs at the barn. Because I talked to them about being entrepreneurs. And I'm like, look, I put it out there to them, sow the seed. I said, look, there could be dogs at the barn. And people could drop their dog off. There'd be doggy daycare. And then you're running your own business. So again, the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm showing you that there are things about you that sometimes you just need to get around some other people and start having some different conversations for ideas just to start developing. So I'm sitting here encouraging ideas in her mind that she never thought of. I didn't go to be a vet, and I didn't grow up with horses and none of that stuff, but I took what I do. I was like, I like relationships. I have these horses. I'll bring people to the barn and I'll use these horses in this atmosphere to help people enrich their relationships. I told her, I said, you could do all kind, whatever. You could run an art program at the barn, have people painting out in the field, whatever. Let horses run around them, walk around them, to be around them, and they could just paint. I said, there's so many things, endless possibilities. Oddly enough, we continue, like just hanging out, chit-chatting at the barn. And I don't know how we got off on this tangent, but we're sitting there and one of the other girls is working with a horse, and she says, she's working with Arizona. He's my big stallion, lots of energy. And we have this like thing where she's told me before, she's like, I'm not the brightest crayon, right? That's her thing. She'll say, I'm not the brightest crayon. And I say, you are the brightest crayon. She's like, no, I'm kind of like purple. I'm not the brightest crayon, but I'm one of the crayons in the box. And so she goes off and she's talking about Arizona. And she's like, he's the red crayon. She's like, he's the one that gets all the attention. And the young girl that was working with him, she said, right now, she said, you're being a beige crayon. She's like, you're not taking responsibility for what it is that you're doing, and you're not looking to improve yourself either. And throughout the whole day, for like 2 hours, she ran on this idea, this analogy of crayons. And she just kept going. She was just popping it off. And she said, girl, you got to move away from being the beige crayon. She said, because beige crayons, they don't do the work and they don't take responsibility. She said, you need to bump up a little bit to orange. And at one point, she lost control of the horse. And she said, Mr. Bryant, I cannot handle this red crayon and beige crayon interaction. She's like, this is too much for me. And because the horse got loose and he's getting ready to run through the barn. So, and I'm standing there, right? I'm like, I'm not helping you. I'm like, you guys got to figure this out. And she said, just like you. You are, Mr. Bryant, the blue crayon. She said, you are willing to be a strong accent. She said, you are willing to do. And so she was just unpacking this whole thing. And we're sitting there after a while on the gate. And I said, you need to write this book. Call it something about crayons. I was like, this is amazing. And I told her, I said, I'm going to use this. I'm going to tell this story. I was like, because this is a pretty incredible analogy that you have running. And so I share that with you again, because sometimes you just need to be in environments that help you to unpack your genius so that you'll stop feeling like you're just one of the 99. You know, like you're not just in the masses of the 99. You are the one. You are the one. You've heard me say it before. You can never be duplicated. You are a once and forever experience. When you sit with yourself for a little bit and understand you can never be duplicated, you have never existed, you won't be duplicated, nobody else can be duplicated. You can put your thumb on something, and once you touch it, when you touch something with your fingerprints, that thing has been uniquely marked by your touch. You have impacted it in such a way. You start to realize, no, I'm a once and forever experience. I can't be just handled so casually. Out of the 100, I'm the one. I'm the one. When I'm not in the situation, the 99 isn't complete without me. I'm the one. And it's okay. Let me just tell you, it's okay to understand your value. It's okay. It should even be expected. And I was just going to say this in closing. Collectively, we need to do better encouraging each other to be the one. You have no competition. I have no competition. You have no competition. You cannot be unique and have competition. What? No. I'm a one of one. I'm a once and forever. I can have no competition because nobody can possibly be me. No one can do me like I can do me. And I can't be anybody else. Competition has left the room. You are your own unique advantage in every situation. Wherever you show up, you have an advantage because you are you and nobody else can be you. This is why it's so important for you to understand you, to know you, and then to operate with wisdom. That is how you will build your house. That is how you will build your relationship. That is how you will build your business. That is how you will excel and climb the ladder in your profession, in your industry. That is how you will be the best parent that you are called to be. That is how you will do anything at your highest level. When you understand with knowledge, understanding, and wisdom who you are and how you are to operate, you set yourself apart. And it's a beautiful thing. So, me and my big mug right here say thank you. I appreciate you for hanging out. I appreciate you for sharing these moments. And, now the ball's in your court. Stop. No more do you get to just operate with oh, it doesn't matter. You don't really have to value me. There's no price to pay. Nope. No. Earlier today, I made a challenge. I set out a challenge, and I'm going to give you the same challenge. Think about yourself in terms of monetary value. And I'm not diminishing you, so let's not go there. But think about yourself and what you do, right? From a monetary standpoint. And then I want you to multiply it by 100. Right? Multiply it by 100. How could you get someone to pay you 100 times more for something that you do? We're not operating anymore out of a place of lack. So I'm going to challenge you 100 times over. How can you operate and have somebody to pay 100 times more for something you do? First of all, if you never charge anyone anything, you first of all got to establish a price and then multiply it by 100 and say, no, this is the new price. The new price is 100 times as much. Okay. Because I want to encourage you to begin processing how you elevate the price, because you know that you are elevating the value. And when you start, look, I'm going to tell you, and I say this a lot, this is why I think everybody should be an entrepreneur. I believe every person should be an entrepreneur. This is my thing. I think everybody should be an entrepreneur. Everybody should bring something to market. This is my position, right? But when you bring something to market and then you begin to put a dollar sign on it and you say, oh, I charge for this. And then you know that it has to end up being valued by someone in order for them to pay the price. It helps you through some things. It helps you through some struggles. It helps you to understand interaction. And so I think it's a great thing. And the rejection is good for you too, because it'll send you back to the drawing board and you say, all right, where did I miss it? What did I do? What can I do? What atmosphere do I need to be in? I can tell you, I've done a lot of entrepreneurial things. I've sold water on the 4th of July in the middle of Philadelphia because it was hot, which was uncomfortable for me, but I wanted to do it because I was like, I want to put myself out there. I just challenged myself to do uncomfortable things. But start thinking of your life and then stick a dollar sign and say, you know what? The value that I add in some particular way, I want to multiply it by 100. How could I charge 100 times as much and have someone feel like they had value? And it's an exercise, not so much about the product, but about you and what you see and what you offer. And being able to present something in such a way that it can be valued. And you know that out of you was produced a treasure that is worth something. Because I believe that there is a treasure within you, and it is worth so much more than any dollar sign. So be encouraged. Know that you are the one. And as we go, let me pray for you as I do. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunities of connection. Thank you for each and every breath that you have given in this day that allows us to be grateful, to rejoice, to be glad, to see each and every moment that has happened. Thank you for this time and opportunity to be together to reevaluate our lives, our thoughts, our perspectives on ourselves, our approach to life. Thank you for giving us a moment to reevaluate our value, knowing that we are good gifts, that we do have a treasure within us, that we are people of abundance and prosperous, people that add to relationships and that add to life and that enhance environments, and that we are people that have something to give. We're not leftovers, but we are the one. And we're worth it. We're worth the effort. We're worth the search. We're worth the celebration. We are worth being found out. So I pray tonight for each and every person that is here, those that are here live, those that are part of Team Replay. I pray for each and every person that they would know that they are valued, that they are the one, that they have a specific and unique assignment that only they can fulfill. Help them not to get caught up in thinking that they're just, in the mix of life. Mm-mm. Help them to know that they are positioned exactly right now in this moment in time and called and to do a particular assignment like only they can. Help them to find that place, help them to flourish in that place, help them to be blessed and to be a blessing. I pray that someone's confidence would rise and they would take action on the thing that they have been holding back, that thing that they've been questioning whether or not they can do it, and they've been looking at life through the lens of failure. I pray that there would be a transformation that happens where someone would say, you know what? Forget that. I'm taking this shot and I'm going to go for it. And I pray their faith would have action attached to it and that their faith would produce life. I pray that goodness and mercy would follow them and overtake them. I pray that your favor would rest upon them, that doors of opportunity would open up, and that they would step through those doors of opportunity and run with the gift and the opportunities being presented to them. Thank you so much for their presence and the blessing they are to me, their encouragement, their words. I pray blessings upon each and every person that has shared even a moment with us tonight. May the time that they have deposited here be multiplied back into their life in much fruit. Thank you so much. And in advance, we thank you for what shall be done. We count it as done. We look forward to seeing the manifestation and the presentation of what has been sown into these moments. And we thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So good. Another fantastic evening together. I appreciate you all. And now for me, it is time to go to the gym. Have a wonderful evening. Look, don't just leave and not think about your worth and value. Really take it to heart, carry it with you, and put it into practice. Do something immediately. All right. Do something immediately so that you can tie the words into a moment. We have this thing called recency bias, where we think about our last, moments and situations, and our mind tends to go to those places. So make this a moment right now where you say, I'm going to do something so that I can imprint it in my mind and use that as a launching pad for the rest of my life. All right. Have a fantastic night. My name is B.A. Shepherd, 2 P's, A-R-D, reminding you to be a shepherd. The world has enough sheep. Love you much. See ya.